Rabbi, welcome.
Hello.
Rabbi, let's just jump right into it. Everybody's ready. Everybody wants to hear your message. Everybody's ready for positivity. There's people, I was in people's houses today. People are scared. People are nervous. People are petrified. There's mothers talking about not sending their children to school tomorrow. My brother asked me today, my brother said to me, are you scared to go to synagogue tomorrow? And I said to him, I'm scared not to go to synagogue tomorrow. So, Rabbi, should mothers be afraid to send their children to school tomorrow?
I'm a parent myself. I'm a grandparent. I love my children. I love my grandchildren. I just want to make that clear up front. And my answer is unequivocally not to be afraid at all. The Jewish people are a nation that is here for close to 4,000 years. We've suffered greatly. We have plenty of enemies. And the secret to our survival was that we were not naive. We locked our doors. We did everything prudent. Jacob, when he prepared to battle with his brother, he prepared for war, but he also prayed, and he prepared a bribe. So the paradox was that Jews looked at the enemy in the eye and did everything to defend themselves, but you're not going to drive fear in me because I only have one God. And this is a time in history that we will look back on for parents. The children are going to learn from us how to deal with challenges. Every challenge, big challenges, small challenges. So this is not a time to cower in fear, because that means every time something happens, we hide in the basement. Victims are afraid. We Jews have suffered, but we never were defined by suffering. I think every mother and father should dig deeper. This is the test of your amunah, of your faith, of your trust. And yes, it is a test. I'm not suggesting that it's easy. It may just be easier just to bury ourselves in the ground or just go into a bunker, but it's not the Jewish way. And long term and short term, we will come out much stronger. They say Jews are like a tea bag. You don't know how strong they are until you put them into hot water. Simple as that.
So
And this is our time. So obviously be prudent. I wouldn't just send the children out like that. Obviously there has to be security and all of that, but never fear. Never fear.
So here's another question for you. There's so many people, you scroll through Instagram, you see unbelievable parades of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people marching every corner of the globe, chanting for the destruction of Israel, chanting for the destruction of the Jewish people. How come it's not happened already? If you look at science, if you look at the nature of things, if you look at just sheer numbers, 14 million Jews in the world, negligible, a blip. How many nations have risen to try to defeat us? How is it possible that it has never happened? And why?
And I'll add.
And why can it not happen?
And I'll make that question even stronger. The biggest empires in the world, and I'll just list them quickly: Egyptian Empire, Babylonian Empire, Persian Empire, Assyrian Empire, Greek Empire, Roman Empire, Ottoman Empire, Spanish Empire. The list goes on. They were all oppressors as well. They have no descendants that say, oh, I trace my roots into the Roman Empire. How is that possible? They had millions more people. They had tremendous amount of land, armies, power, control. But the answer is because the verse in the prophet says it all. Lo b'chayil v'lo b'koyach. It's not with our weapons and it's not with our brute power that we have strength. It's ki'im beruchi. It's with spirit. Pharaoh made the big mistake, thank God. He thought his enemy were the men, the ones that bear arms. And he said, you know what, I'll kill all the boys, so the man will never grow up, the Moses, to save the Jews. That's what he thought. Didn't realize that the strength of the Jews was in the women's faith. He thought the women and children he could subdue, because you can't destroy faith with weapons. And it was their faith that actually continued to have children, despite children dying, unfortunately. And ultimately, it was not only that, it was that Yocheved, the main one, gave birth to Moses, put him in a basket. You cannot destroy faith. I'll tell you something extremely moving that I heard from a few Holocaust survivors. I asked them, how is it possible that Jews sang Ani Maimin, I believe, with complete faith when they were marched to the gas chambers? You know, they had all the right to be angry at God. Where are you, God? He forsake the Jews. We are your children, and where are you? And yet they sang Ani Maimin. They were not crazy, and they were not denial. They were not in escapism. It wasn't some type of delusion. You know what the answer is, Beryl? And I say this to everyone that's listening. The answer is because the Jews were actually declaring with defiance, you may take our bodies, but you will never take our souls. You may take our lives, but you will never take our faith. And if it won't be us, it will be our children. And if it won't be our children, it will be our grandchildren. We will prevail. And look today, go to Berlin, and you see little Jewish boys and girls running around. You see a menorah at the Brandenburg Gate where Yamach Shemoy Hitler stood. And you have the Germans who came from the Nazis all changing their names and hiding their identities. I'm not dismissing at all. 6 million were decimated. And I'm not dismissing the over 1,400 people that were just so massacred brutally just 6 days ago. I'm not dismissing it, but our light and our faith is stronger than their hate.
Oh, wow.
Simple as that.
I love that. You know, I heard something from Magnus Friedman this week, which really gave me a lot of strength. Somebody was saying to him that the 1967 war, the Yom Kippur War, this is worse than that. It began in a really bad way, right? The bombing of 1967 war, but the miracle was incredible during the 6-day war, and this was even worse. The beginning of this one was even worse. So that means that the miracle that we're going to see is going to be even more. You mentioned, you know,
We
I'll
have
be honest with you.
no doubt. Remember, let me say this. Let me just add one thing. There's two levels of being victimized. One is being killed. Rahman al-Islam, no one should ever experience that. And our hearts and souls cry with every person who was taken and their families. But on the other hand, there's another being victimized, where you're demoralized, where you feel that you're a victim, where you feel that you're at someone else's mercy. That we Jews can never allow ourselves to do, because that's in our control. And that's what the enemy wants. They want to break our spirit. Let's be honest. Part of war, psychological war, is to create that other side panic and fear and run away.
You got a phone call? So, you know, I'm curious. I see all these in the comments, all these wonderful people. Free Palestine. I don't even want to say his name. Hitler's the best, and all these things.
Yeah, and we also
right?
saw from Sydney beaches what they were saying. Yeah.
Right. So I'm curious. Should we bring one of these people on? I would like to see what their face looks like. Or don't even give them the
I don't even
time.
I'm disgusted, but I wouldn't even want to look at them.
Right.
I definitely don't want to debate with them. I think God, you know, they're.
I just do want to give a shout out to Ty Jackson, who just joined.
Well, you know what?
He's my brother from a Black Christian mother. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
And does he hate you?
No, he loves me.
Okay, so that's all. That's fine. But you bring one of these haters, that's completely irrational. It makes no difference. You know, I have to quote this. I have never been so proud as a Jew as I am today. I must tell you. You know what? Because we brought civilization to this world. We brought kindness, justice, charity, benevolence, compassion. I don't understand it at all. Abraham, who the Ishmaelites and the Muslims say is their great-grandfather. You know what Abraham did? He was chesed. He was complete love. He prayed for infidels. So to me, the whole thing is just so. And I'll quote a medrash. A medrash says that if the nations of the world, including Hamas and including all our enemies, would know how many blessings they receive because of the Jews, because of Israel, because of Yerushalayim, because of the Beis Hamikdash, instead of attacking it, they would surround it with legions to protect it because it's the source of their blessings. Can you imagine how dark it is? The people benefiting from the blessings that we bring to them are attacking. To me, it's like, I mean, obviously, the biggest question is how God can allow such darkness. But that's another discussion.
So,
But
by the way, so what is
so
why do the nations of the world hate the Jewish people so much? Because today it's Israel. During the Holocaust, it was in Germany. It was before
yeah,
that. It was the Spanish Inquisition. Before that, it was. I mean, before.
and
So
before
okay,
that
so today's flavor.
In the Bible it was Esav,
Right,
Esav
right.
saying
So it's
Yaakov.
the flavor of the month. So Israel is the flavor of the month. It gives them, so why is that, Rabbi? Like, it's
You know,
so hurtful.
look. You know what? Only Jews ask that question, because we're thinking people. I sometimes, when people ask me that question, I say, you know what? It's not our problem. Is there? Why don't you ask the non-Jews?
Right,
Why don't you ask the haters? Why
right,
do we need to explain why they hate
right.
us? You know, that's like
You know what?
ridiculous.
I think you're bringing up a great point because I think that for a long time, a lot of Jewish people have tried to bend their mentality and say, how could we make ourselves more likable to the non-Jewish world? Because we must be doing something wrong. They don't like us. In, in, so I think that they bend themselves, and even Israel is guilty of this. For how long did Israel bend itself to the wishes of the world, to the wishes of the United Nations, to the wishes of whoever it was at that time pressuring them instead of taking care of its own people? And I think that if Jewish people are strong and we're proud and we act like Jewish people, and the way that a Jew acts is not just by eating bagel lox and cream cheese, but the way that a Jew acts like a Jew is by learning Torah. That's the strength of the Jews. Doing
Well,
mitzvahs, that's the strength of the Jews. So,
I'll say this. Let me say this. Let me say this as well. As I said, I don't think I need to explain. Let the haters explain why they hate. Um, Jews have never responded hate with hate. We defend ourselves. You're not gonna. We'll not take anything. We're not pushovers, but we don't become haters because people hate us. So it's their problem. And you know what? Let them go to their therapists and let them figure it out. And I'm being honest. And you know what? In psychology, what's the first thing you try to teach people? Don't
you can't
define
change.
yourself by
Right,
other people.
right,
Don't be a pleaser.
right,
You know, be yourself. Find out who you are and be confident in yourself.
right.
But I will say one thing. I will say one thing. As Jews who think and are philosophical, and we always wonder why people hate. I'll put it to you in very simple English. Materialism hates spirituality.
Hmm.
The Jews have become the conscience of the world. We're like the witnesses, it says. We're the witnesses. We're witnesses to God. We're witnesses to God's miracles. And everything that's not godly hates godliness.
Right,
That's how it works.
right,
And because we remind them, you know, like what do they say? Kill the witness, and then
right.
then there was no crime. But but we, but I want to go back to something you asked. We
Hmm.
are indestructible. Period. The reason we're indestructible is because there's a connection to something eternal called God. You're not powerful because you're very wealthy. You're not powerful because you have a lot of power and control. You're powerful because you connect to eternity.
Mm.
And when you have an eternal aspect to your life, everyone, frankly, I would even say the non-Jew, connect to God, and you too will taste eternity. And that's simple as that. It's not a statistic. You know how many obituaries were written about the Jews after World War II? After a third of our people were decimated, out of 18 million, 6 million, and the teachers, leaders, everyone predicted by night.
I want to address a comment over here that
What's that? Let me
somebody
just
just
finish
put.
the sentence.
Yeah,
They said by 1990 there will be no Jews left. And if you were a statistician or a actuary, it would make sense. But we're not subject to statistics. There are things that are not statistics. There are things about that are higher, transcendent, faith, eternal, immortality. And that's what with all that we've suffered this week, our immortality will come shining forth in ways that nobody can ever believe.
very well said. I want to address a few comments that have been made in the comment section, which is make peace, ceasefire, make peace, Jews, make peace. So, you know,
You want my quick and I'll tell you my quick and abrupt and immediate
yeah,
response is this. I heard it. I'm not sure who coined this. If our enemies put down their arms sincerely, they'd have peace in a second. If we put our arms down, what will happen?
we'd be pushed into the sea.
Exactly. They're saying it. It's in their constitution. It is such a distorted propaganda brainwash that there's any equivalence between what's going on here. Completely. You know what? What did we do after World War II? Why didn't we go and bomb and kill innocent? They weren't so innocent, the Germans. It's not the way of a decent person. It's not a civil behavior. If you can chop up a child and you can and do all the atrocities, I don't want to use this platform. You know, this is not about because you're living in poverty. There are people who live in poverty.
I don't have an appetite. I don't have an appetite. I can't even say the words, the videos that I've seen. I can't even say that. I've lost my appetite this week. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and we're not looking here for sensationalism, and we're not looking for pity. We have to know that we're dealing with, people call them animals. It's worse than animals. Animals don't do that. Animals kill prey to eat. Here.
Wow. This is worse than animals. Wow.
Absolutely. Wow. And to me, it's a reflection of I don't even have the words, of an obscene, decadent, I mean, it's like everything anti-God, anti-religion, all in the name of so-called religion. It's like, it's insanity. But anyway, the point being is, this is unprovoked. It's just not acceptable in any way. You know, civilians that die by accident because collateral damage is one thing, but targeting that with hatred and then celebrating it, I mean, I don't need to explain it. Let's put it this way. Any person who needs explanation needs to look in the mirror about their own decency and civility. It's just, so I don't need to explain. I think what we need to talk about is our strength, and going back to our parents and children. You know, people have asked me, what do we tell our children? Let's talk about that for a moment, if I may. Can I?
I have another question before you do.
Okay. I
did this live.
A lot of hearts popping up, so there seems a lot of love in this.
For sure. You know, the crazy ones have no life, so they're writing. But you know, I made this live. I made this live tonight. I told you that I was doing it for everybody else. I really was doing it for myself. I need some comfort.
You know, all therapists do it for themselves.
Right,
you know.
right. So what's going to be, Rabbi? What's going to be? It looks bleak. What's the future? Okay, that was the past. We spoke about the past. We survived this, that. Great. But
you just said you just touched a real button in me when you said what's going to be. Let me tell you a story. The former chief rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Yisrael Meir Lau, he came to see the Lubavitcher Rebbe in 1974, right after the Yom Kippur War, and the Rebbe he was then chief rabbi of Netanya, and you know what? The Rebbe asked him, "What's the mood in Israel?" It was a very somber mood because it wasn't like the 6-Day War with all the euphoria. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of mistakes made, arrogance. There were over close to 3,000 casual deaths and so on. So he told the Rebbe, I think in Yiddish, he said, "As Eden fragen was wird sein." They're asking what's going to be. The word you just used, what is going to be. Or in Hebrew, you say, "Ma yeh." The way he told me the story, the Rebbe grabbed his wrist like this.
Wow.
Like that.
Wow.
And said to him, "Rabbi Lau, by Jews, we don't ask what's going to be. We ask, what are we going to do?"
Oof.
Not ma yeh, ma naseh. You know the profundity of that? Let me tell you the difference. A victim asks, what's going to be? Commander-in-chief will never ask what's going to be. He will say, okay, we had a setback. We didn't work out this way. We'll go that way. Mm-hmm. Tell me of a business person that's successful, that did not have a failure first or bankruptcy. People who are leaders, people who are driven, even on any level. There's no such thing as what's going to be. That's a victim's language. That's a victim as if someone else is going to solve your problems. We don't ask what's going to be. We don't understand things. I will never be able to explain why God allowed this, just like I can't explain why God allowed the Holocaust. But remember, not understanding something doesn't make us weaker. It makes us stronger. Because it's not a passive statement of surrender. It's saying, I don't understand, but you know what? I know I have the resources and the resilience to dig deeper. And I'm asking, what am I going to do about it? And that's what we have to teach our children and ourselves, and including tomorrow and everything that comes our way. What are we going to do? And one thing is, our spirits will never be shattered here. Nobody can take away our spirit. The only one that can take away your spirit is yourself. Nobody else can.
What's the answer? What are we going to do?
Oh, we're going to show that light is stronger than darkness. I mean, I should have began with the first statement. We're going to first vanquish and eradicate every enemy that never, like this, can never happen again. Let me start with that, because you have to stop the bleeding. It's like an emergency room. But long term, we're going to demonstrate, as we've always, that light is stronger than darkness. As passionate as you are in your bestial and beyond animal, lower than animal behavior, we're going to show that our passion for love and unity and commitment and faith and mitzvahs and good deeds is stronger than your hatred. It's as simple as that. That's why we're here on this earth. God created a dark world, and he said, you make this week's chapter in the Torah. Let there be light. It was a dark world. Bring light into the world, and the light will dispel the darkness. Right now, there's a lot of darkness, but we can't allow ourselves to surrender to darkness. Simple as that. We vanquish it. We will completely eradicate it, and come out stronger than ever. And for every negative thing, for every person who was taken, it will inspire thousands more. That's how I look at it.
You know, I had so many people today reaching out to me. So many of my...
But by the way, I'm talking to you. You're the one that has to be one of the leaders of this effort. Let's be honest, Beryl. Let me say this. If we don't do that, then in a sense we are insulting the people that gave their lives. We have to redeem it. The way we redeem it is by showing that for every life taken, we're going to bring life to hundreds more, thousands more. I say this, Mom, from my heart. I really believe, I listen. Some of you may know I sat at the feet of the Rebbe. This is what I learned. I learned what a leader is like. I learned that when in times of crisis, this is a time in history that will go down, that when our children and grandchildren will write the story, they'll say, what did you do? And we don't want to answer. We hid in our homes, in our basements, in fear. We'll say, we did everything we had to do to protect innocent people, and we did everything we had to do to keep the spirit alive and show that we're not on the defense. We're going to be on the offense. Listen, you invited me on. I'm very passionate about this.
Is it okay to be on the offense? We live in a very liberal world today. We live in a very kumbaya world today. Is it okay to be on the offense? I mean, I know the answer.
Let's define offense. Obviously, offense, I don't mean offense as in, I spoke the other day to some of the community leaders and shluchim on campuses. Offense doesn't mean to go out and protest when they're protesting. Offense means that we're inspiring every Jew. We stand strong. We inspire every non-Jew. We ask people to connect to God, to connect to love. We ask someone meets you, and you say, what can I do for you in Israel? You say, do another mitzvah. Be kind to someone. Repair a rift with someone that you've had argument with. We're not asking, when offense here does not mean we're going to attack our enemies. In Israel, there has to be a real war. I mean, that's not a question even, because you have a living threat. There's an existing threat to everyone that's innocent, and that's very clear.
What is Torah's stance on going into Gaza?
The Torah stance is we love life. And when life is threatened, it's not just a threat to us, it's a threat to all people. It's not just a threat to Jews. We always know that the Jews are the miner's canary, the lightning rod. Anyone attacks an innocent Jew, just give them a little time and they'll attack innocent people all over. So it's not about going into Gaza. It's about protecting life. When people are sworn enemies and they have a constitution that calls for the annihilation of every man, woman, Jewish man, woman, and child, and they say we want to eradicate all of Israel from coast to coast, from the Mediterranean to the Jordan River or whatever they call it, then you have no choice. We can cry about it. We can feel terrible about it, but we have no choice to show strength to completely eliminate the enemy. Let me ask you. Let's not talk about a nation. If God forbid, I ask everyone listening to this, including those that may not like what was being said, if somebody broke into your living room, your children are asleep, and they come to you and they say, you know what, we won't attack your children if you give us your living room. And then they ask for the dining room. What would any family do? You do whatever it takes.
Rabbi, the problem is they say that the living room is theirs. They say that Israel is theirs. They say that we broke into theirs.
Okay. So then, do we all accept the Bible? They accept the Bible. They consider themselves religious people, right? the Bible, read the Bible, and tell me how many times it says that the promised land was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to be given to their children. And when they went to Egypt, who occupied the land? Were occupiers. They refused to leave. They said to the Jews, "You're occupiers." This week's chapter in the Torah begins with Rashi that says, 1,000 years ago, Rashi said, there will be those that will say, "You're thieves. You stole our land." So the Torah begins and says, God created the world, and God gave the land, this small sliver of Israel. The rest of the world is yours. So I don't care what they say. Anyone can say anything. If I live in a house and it's my house and my title, and someone comes and says, "Hey, you know what? You're living in my house." I'll say, "Yeah, look at the title. Look at the book." The Bible, the best-selling book, makes it very, very clear. I don't feel we have to prove anything. I'll tell you what they say. I'll tell you what you want to know what they really say? I've studied Muslim philosophy, and I don't know if you know that. I wanted to understand. You know what they say? They don't say the Bible is wrong. They say that the Jewish people fell out of favor, and God replaced them with the Ishmaelites, replaced them with the Muslims. It was exactly what like the Christians said. They say so God, but you know what? That is their thoughts and their opinion. The bottom line is we simply came home. We've been praying toward Jerusalem for 3,500 years before Islam existed. It's ridiculous to me. I feel like, it's like 7th century. Islam was born in the 6th and 7th century. We're here for 3,500 years. What do you mean occupied? They didn't even exist.
It's funny. As soon as I quoted the Torah and the Bible, all of a sudden, all of the Free Palestine morons, none of them are here anymore because there's nothing else to discuss after that. I think a big mistake that a lot of people make, including secular Jewish people, including we never left. I'm glad you just called yourself a moron, D. Dali 22. What an idiot. I think a big mistake that a lot of secular Jews make, and the UN makes, and the Oslo Accords, and all these things that they make, is they look at Israel as a 75-year-old country, and it's a very big mistake. Israel is not a 75-year-old story; it's a 3,000-year-old country, and that's the mistake that people make. Is you cannot look at Israel on a day-to-day basis, on a year-to-year basis, or on a century-to-century basis. And Israel belongs to the Jewish people because God gave us.
Do you ever wonder why a mosque is built on every holy site, Christian or Jewish holy site? You know why? Because in Muslim philosophy, Muslim religion feels that the demonstration of God choosing us over the Jews and the Christians is demonstrated. We have to build a mosque on the Temple Mount, even though Jerusalem is never mentioned in the Quran, and in Be'er Sheva, and in Shechem, and in Hebron. What does Hebron have to do with Islam? I don't even know if Muhammad was ever there. Hebron is the place where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are buried. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are our forefathers. Yes, I will agree that Abraham also had a child, Yishmael. That's why it shocks me why they don't behave like Abraham. Where's the chesed? Where's the kindness that Abraham demonstrated?
By the way, Yishmael was capable of being a mensch, right?
He did tshuva then, yes.
Tshuva.
Look,
he became a good guy.
Look, Islam has many beautiful ideas and concepts, but I think when it comes to Jews, people become irrational, and that's that. There's a lot of ways to explain it. The conscience of the world I mentioned before. You have to also remember, let's talk basic business competition. We were here before everybody. It's in their interest to delegitimize us because that's the only way they're more legitimate. Right. I'm sorry for being so blunt. I hope
if you're not going to be blunt now, when are you going to be blunt? Now, it's all coming to the surface.
Yeah. Anyway,
the world is ready for truth.
I will tell you this.
It's enough of us pandering to everybody. It's enough of us bowing down all the time. It's enough of us hiding.
I'll tell you this. I'm a firm believer. Just as the Christians were tamed and ultimately developed a country like the United States that became a haven for Jews and for all religions, and advocates the fundamental principles of the Torah, which is that all people are created equal and have inalienable rights. I'm a firm believer that in our lifetime we're going to see the Muslims also get tamed.
I hope so.
But we need to help them. We need to help them understand what God wants. And we have to be godly for them to respect that. If we're not godly, they won't respect us. And we need to tell them, listen, we're your older cousins, and we'll teach you a few things about God.
The problem is
But this has to go hand in hand.
They have to
This
have
goes,
humility. They have to have humility.
and this has to go.
Go ahead.
1 second. This hand in hand with fighting and doing whatever we do to eradicate evil. That we will not tolerate. We're not going to sit and just send them flowers and say, come to a class.
Eradicating evil is godly. The Torah, Torah gives us a commandment. If somebody is trying to kill you, you have a mitzvah to kill them first. That is godly.
Yeah.
You said it beautifully before. We value life, and we defend life, and we protect life at all costs.
Yeah, we value life more than they value death. Absolutely. Anyway, getting back to the theme at hand, parents everywhere, love your children. Part of loving your children is building resilience, building strength, building faith. And yes, we know there's a dark world out there, but we're here to bring light into a dark world. And I would tell my children very simply, there are people out there that have chosen death, that have chosen darkness. People have free will. Our job is not to give in to that, not to be afraid of it, but to bring more light. At the same time, to protect ourselves. And you, my dear son, my dear daughter, are part of a mission and part of a gift that God has sent you to this world. And know that your light is stronger than anyone else's darkness. I think we can teach this to the children from a young age without frightening them. We don't have to expose them to all the horrors that we're seeing, but teaching them about what life is about. This is an opportunity I think, of a lifetime. We all wish this didn't happen. Trust me. 6 days ago, Simchas Torah, we hoped we were going into Yom Tov. Everyone was so excited. But once this happened, we turn quickly and learn lessons and become stronger than ever. Sure. And I encourage everyone that rise to the occasion now. Be a leader. Make things happen. Talk to people. Educate yourself. I just found actually an interesting.
When you say make things happen, practically speaking, every person sitting at home tonight, today, tomorrow, whenever this reaches you, whenever this is reaching your ears and you're listening to it, what can a Jewish person do? Let's start with that. What could a Christian person do? What could a person that doesn't believe in God do? What could even a Muslim do to bring more light into the world?
Excellent. And especially regarding tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be a day of hate by some people. So the response is, we will bring even more love. Firstly, and I'm saying this first, I'll start first universally, and then I'll work my way to the individual groups you just mentioned. Firstly, make sure you reach out to at least 5 people tomorrow and today, whenever, with a special kind word. Simply send a message to your contact list. Share with them something inspiring. That's on a simple level. If you have a rift with anyone, call them up, apologize, or accept an apology. Repair rifts. Third thing is initiate things. Maybe whenever you can, host something in your house or in someone else's house. Get together, study something, give a little charity, pray together. I mean, there's so many things that we can do that are even easy and simple, and especially online today. For Jews particularly, I will add that we have mitzvahs, like, for example, all boys and men, after bar mitzvah, putting on tefillin. If you put on tefillin already, do it with extra diligence. If you haven't, begin now. Tefillin has a particular power of driving fear into the enemy. As a matter of fact, during the 6-day war and the Yom Kippur War, when the enemy saw tefillin, they thought it was a new type of bomb, a new type of grenade or something. It is a weapon, but it's a spiritual weapon. For women, tomorrow's Friday. Perfect. Friday is the day when we before sundown, 18 minutes before sundown, light a Shabbos candle, whether you're a woman or a girl. Light dispels darkness, and put a mezuzah on your doors. If you don't, check your mezuzahs. It also has a particular power of protection. For non-Jews, we have the universal laws of ethics I mentioned before, civilization, which include being a mensch, being kind, being ethical, living up to the standards of law, recognizing there's an eye that sees and an ear that hears. Be accountable to a higher authority. We don't own ourselves. We need to be responsible. This is the first response. The first thing you learn from all of this, if they really had fear, if they really had respect and reverence of God, God has laws. First law is you do not touch another person. You're not even, forget about killing. You don't even touch another person. So we have to add and increase in all those positive things. I can go on, the list goes on, but all of it really adds up to what I said before. Make things happen. Don't react. Be proactive. Lead the way. Because
I shut off the comments already. Why do we have to give the darkness? Why do we have to give the darkness what's it called? A platform already? Yeah, get them out of here already.
I wasn't even.
And you guys are welcome. You guys are welcome to stay, by the way, because we believe that darkness, that lightness breaks darkness. So you guys are actually welcome to stay. My pleasure. Because hopefully a little bit of this will penetrate you. But yes. Rabbi?
I hope you have more. Listen, you
were going to mention that story, and I think it's a good story to end on, because I'm exhausted. I have a flight tomorrow, and I know I called you last minute, and it's late, and everybody's tired.
Let me tell the story. Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
In 1927, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe of Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson was arrested in the former Soviet Union. And you can imagine what it was like under Stalin. He was just like another Hitler. And they arrested him for no cause, counter-revolutionary activity, which basically was another way of saying that he's spreading faith and religion and so on. And they tried to intimidate him and scare him. He refused to cooperate. Though he spoke fluent Russian, he insisted on speaking Yiddish. He insisted on having his talis and tefillin and all that. Finally, one of his captors, who was a Jew, a Jewish communist, who hated religion, said to the Rebbe in Yiddish, pointed a gun to his head, and said, Rebbe, this weapon has frightened and made many people cooperate. The Rebbe, unflinching, without hesitating, turned to him and said, this tzatske in Yiddish, this toy can frighten someone that has one world and many gods, but not someone that has one God and many worlds. In other words, I'll use business language. If you diversify, if you have all your eggs in one basket and that basket is taken from you, you have a lot to be afraid of. But when you have many baskets, yes, we don't want to die, but you don't think death is going to frighten me, because I have a spiritual life, I have values, I have family, I have children, I have teachings. Much will live on. So it's not that you can frighten me by taking away one thing from me. I have many resources, and I have one God that is unchangeable. And you know what he responded? The captor said to him, Rebbe, we'll see who prevails. And the Rebbe said to him, yes, we shall see who prevails. What happened? It's a true story. This man, Lulav was his name. He was killed, executed a few weeks later. That was the process. And the Rebbe was miraculously released, ended up going to Europe, ended up coming to America in 1940, ended up building the Chabad Lubavitch community. His son-in-law took over in 1950, and the rest is history. This is called a leader.
Opened up 5,000 synagogues all over the world.
Exactly. You are not going to terrify us. We're not afraid of you. Yes, God, for whatever reason, allows you to control our body movements, but you're never going to control our souls. And actually, when he came out of prison, he said, our bodies went to Golus. Our bodies were displaced, but our souls never went to Golus. A soul never goes into exile. A soul cannot be enslaved, only a body.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautifully said. Thank you for joining, Rabbi. Thank you for everybody for joining. Guys, please do me a favor. As soon as this live is done, I'm going to post it. Please like it. Please put positive comments, and please share it, more importantly, on your feeds. Go ahead, follow Rabbi Jacobson. Always puts out great stuff. Please like this, comment, and share it as soon as it's done. We want to get this out to as many people, bring as much comfort, much security, much confidence to as many people as possible. Tomorrow is going to be a great day. As a matter of fact, I have a funny feeling, Rabbi, tomorrow is going to be a fabulous day. You?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have complete trust in Hashem.
And
Tomorrow is going to be a wonderful day.
And we're partners here, but we can make it happen even more so by our attitudes and our actions.
We're going to see
whenever you see a little more darkness or hatred, add another mitzvah, add another piece of light. Simple as that.
Tomorrow's going to be, I have a feeling, tomorrow's going to be a special day. I have trust
Especially if everybody
Hashem.
hears this program.
Bye. Have a good night. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.